Good morning, Oracles. Well, yesterday definitely went the complete opposite direction that I thought we were going to go. I thought for sure we were going to have a big gap up, and then we were going to see probably that gap get filled later in this week as we saw the CPI and PPI data come out. I was hoping maybe we were going to fill the gap up to 865 before then. But unfortunately, with all the lawsuits coming from Twitter and all the turmoil coming from Elon terminating the Twitter deal, we went the complete opposite direction. And then it seems like the entire stock market was starting to sell off with an anticipation of high inflation numbers coming in on Wednesday and Thursday. And then Q2 earnings season coming up with a most likely us seeing a earnings recession. Seeing all these things coming out pulled the entire stock market down, and Tesla sold off more than the rest of the market itself. So not a great day, but we did hold strong at 700. So we talked about it previously that 700 was a strong resistance level, and once we broke it, it would end up acting as a strong support. And sure enough, it did. And so looking at how we have CPI and PPI data coming out this week, we'll probably break underneath it if the numbers do not come where we want them to be. Really not sure about that, but Tesla has been trading in a pretty strict range for the last couple of months between 620 and 770. So, I mean, even we saw after hours on Friday that we hit that basically 770 mark and came right down off of that even after hours. Now, of course, yesterday morning we weren't even close to gapping up, so that took that out of the range there, but now we're coming down, and then we hit 700. So if we end up pulling down, again, we will watch those lower lows because we do have a gap down to 695. I thought maybe we'd fill it yesterday. We'll see how we trade today, but I'll pay attention to that because if we hit, that's the new higher low gap that we have. So if we fill that gap at 695 and bounce off of that and come back up, that could be very good because now since we've been trading sideways for so long, I'm going to start looking for some consolidation going on. Now, we do have Q2 earnings coming out next week, and chances are, if the algorithms are going to force PE compression and we get a lower EPS number coming in, which we're anticipating it being, we might actually see the stock price come down, and then we'll pay attention to that 620 level to see if we can hold up there. So a bunch of different numbers I'm watching and paying attention to, see how we hold against all these levels for technical analysis. But again, if we can hold 620 going through Q2 earnings, I think we can then solidify that as the bottom. And something to pay attention to also, especially when it comes to Elon and the Twitter deal, is paying attention to Elon selling his Twitter shares. So if he ends up selling those Twitter shares, then that would definitely mean that he is stepping away from the deal altogether. Some people think that he is using this filing from Friday as a bargaining chip to try and get Twitter to drop the deal down and, let Elon be able to buy it for less. So that's kind of where a lot of people are thinking this is going right now. That's probably what led to some of the sell-off yesterday on top of what the entire market was doing. So again, we'll pay attention to that. Then there's questions out there of, well, if Elon sells his Twitter shares, does that mean he's going to buy Tesla shares back in? Quite honestly, I don't know. I don't know if he would just use that money for something else, because when he sold those Tesla shares, he actually sold higher priced shares for a lower price and took a loss on them. So if he does take a gain in anything that he sells this year, it's going to be a tax write-off. Now, if he does sell Twitter, unless he had already sold it previously, if he does sell it now, he's going to take a loss in that as well. So he could save this cash on the side, or he could buy back into Tesla. And if he buys back into Tesla at this time, he's actually going to be buying at a significant discount from when he sold it before. So lots of different options. I'm not sure what he's going to do. Again, we'll pay attention to the Form 4 filings that he has when it comes to purchasing and selling Twitter or Tesla. But now again, he won't be able to buy Tesla until after Q2 earnings because they are in a blackout period right now. So we do have to wait on that. So it's not like all of a sudden in the next couple of days he's going to sell Twitter and then buy Tesla. That can't happen because he's not allowed to purchase anything for Tesla at the moment. Now looking forward to Q2 earnings, my estimates I had mentioned yesterday are $1.73. Consensus analyst estimates are about $1.80 to $1.89. And so that really, I think, is going to determine where the stock price goes from there. we'll pay attention to it. And I think a huge piece of it, and a few of you had mentioned it, are really not going to be so much what the numbers are, because we already expect deflated numbers based on Q1. It's going to be, are their margins for vehicles still over 30%? And then what is their guidance? Are they holding to a 50% year-over-year growth guidance? And are they going to announce anything new coming out of this? Or maybe we'll hear about that at the annual shareholder meeting on August 4th. So I think those couple of things are really what's going to sway the stock going forward, because don't forget, the stock market looks 6 months down the road. So looking at the numbers here, the stock market is already like, all right, we know these numbers are going to suck, but what can you tell us about the next 6 months so that we can adjust our investments and our estimates accordingly for the next 6 months? Because Q3 and Q4 should bode very well for Tesla, and if they give us any sort of signs that they are looking for a very strong second half, we could see some good stuff coming out of Q2 earnings, and that could be one of those situations where they miss on the numbers but give strong guidance and the stock actually does well. Lots of unknowns going into it. I'm not sure how it could play out, but that's just one of the scenarios that I see. Now, when it comes to price targets going in the future, over on Twitter, we've got TeslaPriceTargets.com. Thank you to Stephen Bink and Big Tesla. They have added my numbers to their website. That's pretty awesome to be added to that. If you guys want to check it out, look at it over there. There's a lot of different numbers on there. I mean, pretty much everybody. We've got Dave Lee, we've got Stephen Mark Ryan on there, we've got Tesla Daily, Meet Kevin. All the big names over on Twitter as well are all on that. You can check out where my ratings are on the list, and you can see where you guys stack up with your price targets over there as well. And if you want yours to be put on there, let me or let him know on Twitter, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind adding you to it, especially if you have a Twitter handle or a YouTube account yourself that you would like it added to. And so looking forward, my price target that he has on his site for the end of 2023 is $2,330 for the end of the year. I think we'll be very strong going into it. Again, a lot of unknowns going between now and then, but we've got the stock split coming up, which yes, I will adjust all of my price targets based off of that when it happens, once it gets officially approved. But then don't forget that next year we have massive ramps coming for production in all of their factories. We've got expansions coming for 3 out of the 4 factories currently. We're most likely going to get announcements for new factories by the end of the year. We've got the Cybertruck coming out into production next year, the semi-truck coming out with production next year. Roadster should have production. Supposedly we're going to have Optimus production. Who knows if that's going to happen in 2023. Maybe we'll catch it in 2024. News and updates about the robotaxi. So many amazing things that we're going to get next year. This year's been kind of dull and bland. And Elon did set the stage for that earlier this year, which he just said, this year is focusing on production, getting us up to scale. That's really all they've been doing. And of course, they've been facing a ton of headwinds along the way when it comes to the Shanghai lockdowns, supply chain issues. All the issues that they've been facing for the headwinds should start alleviating by the end of this year, which will allow that production ramp to really push forward. So we've had a little bit of a delay on that, but those headwinds are going to lift, and then we'll be able to get into some really exciting times with new stuff coming out, because production by itself is pretty boring, which is basically how this year has been. I mean, it's been exciting because the stock market has been all over the place and just a straight beat down. That's pretty exciting for some people who are shorting the market, but it's just been a drag all year long. Next year, we can look forward to some excitement. And don't forget, just like you see in your normal lives, when you go through some really tough times and you get something exciting happen, it seems that much more exciting. That's what we're going to go through. And the longer you go through painful times, the more exciting the exciting stuff is. That's what we're going to feel emotionally. Now remember, make sure your emotions are taken out of this. It is going to be awesome to be excited. And I want to be excited with you guys, and we will enjoy all of that. But when it comes to your investing, make sure you enjoy that excitement with a level head when it comes to your investments. So that's why these are the times now where I try to picture things in the opposite. I see the excitement coming down the road in the future a year from now. So when that happens, a lot of people are going to start dumping their money in, and we'll have this euphoric run in the stock price at that time. Well, do you want to be buying in when everyone else is buying in on a euphoric run? Or do you want to be buying in now when people are like, man, I want to stay away from that? Sure, we could fall further than we are right now. Nobody knows what the future is, but this is why I dollar cost average, because I'm seeing right now is the time that nobody wants to buy. Those are the times that I want to buy. So I'm buying in little bits now because when everybody else wants to buy later and the stock price is, twice what it is now, I'll still be buying in my dollar cost average then, but I've already bought in a ton now as well. And so my cost basis is going to be significantly lower than everyone else's. And so that's why looking at like a Tesla as a company, they bought in a lot of the supplies and set up all these deals way before everyone else did. So they had a lot better pricing power on all of this stuff going forward. So just like it comes down to with the stock price, if you buy in now, you're going to have that much more leverage on all the people who are buying in later as the stock starts running back up and we go back into euphoric times. And so then looking at it emotionally, we'll still be going up and down at the time. It's not like Tesla's going to stop being a volatile stock at that time. The split may help it a little bit, but still when we get to those times where we're still going to be volatile, people who are buying in at a higher level are going to usually be a little more emotionally unstable because the stock price might be up and down from where they're buying. But if your cost basis is where the stock price is right now, and the stock price comes down a little bit, let's say my cost basis, for instance, is $800. Let's say we push up to $1,500. Somebody else's cost basis is $1,300, and we pull down to $1,300. They're going to be asking themselves the question, ooh, should I sell? Should I not? Because I'm not sure. I'm now going to go into the red. Whereas me with an $800 cost basis is like, I'm still $500 up. I'm good to go. No problems here. I don't need to get my emotions involved. That's the way I'm viewing it for the future, and that's how I keep my emotions in check. At least that's one of the ways I do it. So those are just my thoughts for the future when it comes to Tesla, what we're going to be seeing for next year. Let me know what you guys are going to be seeing for next year for Tesla's stock. Do you think we are going to see this sideways trading for a while and then some euphoric excitement next year and a lot of people getting back into the stock and the stock market as we start to pull out of things, hopefully at that time? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We also have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a Patreon. That link is also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.